Hello and welcome to the Man Cave here at Wistful Vistas in beautiful suburban San Diego, California. Family and friends. Today I'm going to do a vlog on the installation of a GoPro mount, permanent GoPro mount to a motorcycle helmet. Recently I purchased this Sedici from Cyclegear. It's their brand, Sedici helmet. They call it the Strada Parlare. Strada Parlare because it has a built-in Bluetooth system on it. And I wanted to have that, retain that, plus be able to mount a GoPro mount, permanent GoPro mount. The other issue for me was with the Phantom over here, the Ducati V4S being a sports machine, and this isn't a bad angle. You can see what a difference in the, more or less, in the angle of the handlebar mounts. Those are clip-ons. This is a straight-ish bar. You're in a very aggressive position. And the last helmet that I had was a great helmet, was a Bell, but in that sport mount position, I really had not a lot of vision forward. This helmet works well on that sport riding position. It also has the drop-down sun shield, which is important in San Diego, and means that it's going to be a candidate for that permanent GoPro mount. So stay with us. I know this has been done many times by many other people, but I figure there might still be a little gleam of information there for people who out there who wish to do this on their own. So I'm going to show this, warts and all, mistakes and everything else that I do along the way. Stand by. Hope you get something out of it. Okay, we're back over here on the workbench at the Man Cave, and I've assembled some of the pieces that I think I may use to attach the GoPro mount to the Sedici helmet. Certainly not going to use all these. I'm not sure what the configuration is going to be. To save time off camera, I've got these curved mounts, and because I'm going to put it on with epoxy, I've taken the standard supplied adhesive mount off and left the bare plastic exposed. And that's because I want a good bond and I don't want that thing ever aging and peeling off. Anybody that's had GoPro for a while will normally accumulate a lot of pieces. I'm going to install it with this Permatex black plastic weld. So that's our next step. Let's get on to it. Step one is to clean your mounting surfaces, and Iodato Rados, who was part of the original bike build series on the Ducati, for the hint to get this stuff. LA Labs totally awesome cleaner, because I was asking him what you use to clean matte surfaces, and he said this stuff is great. Dilute it down to 50-50 water and cleaner. So I've done that in my Convenient Ace all-purpose sprayer bottle. So we're going to use that very quickly here. I have a rag I don't much care about, and I'll put a little on this. Do the GoPro mount, and I'm cleaning a wide area because I'm not exactly sure where we're going to end up with that. Okay, on to the next phase. We're going to mix up the epoxy and put that down. This is the Permatex bonder I'm going to use. I guess I could put that right side up so you'd have a chance to see it. And I got this because I trust that Permatex name. Anybody that's worked around automotive know this stuff. They usually make a pretty good product. Black plastic welder, dries black helmet, and we'll do that. And I'm going to clip this off with these scissors. And just want to say, if you're working around the garage, one of the things I urge you to get is a good, strong pair of scissors. These are just so handy, and in many cases, much more handy than a little X-Acto knife or any kind of a knife for that matter. So get these. You'll notice it has a notch for cutting really big pieces, and I'm sure you will have many uses around your own personal man cave. Okay, I've trimmed this off, and you'll see it's a nice little storage. It's reusable as a storage for the epoxy. I must say though that one of the things I find out when using these epoxies is that you use them so rarely that typically when you go back to try and use it again, you'll notice that it's either very close to or past the use by date. So it's tough to save this stuff over any period of time. I suppose if you're working and attaching epoxy and things all the time. But anyway, that's the way it goes on. We're going to mix it now in the plastic lid. And this is designed to put down just the equal amounts of hardener and resin. And we're going to stir those up. The nice thing about the curvature of this particular helmet and the curve on the, not sure if this will show up, and the curve on the curved mount by GoPro is that they're not too far off. So you're not going to end up having to fill in a lot of spaces. And I want to get this as close to the coaxially mounted, let's say, with my line of sight, so that the experience of the person watching any video is very similar to what I see on the motorcycle. So I think I'm going to attach it right here, and I'm going to mark that part and then put the resin in and set that down. Okay, I'm going to mark where I'm going to set it. This isn't an exact science, of course. If it was, I wouldn't stand a chance. But what I'm doing is just trying to find a place where there's the least amount of rock and where it'll settle in good. There's a lot of adjustability on these, so I'm going to mark it, of course, with a black marker. And there I just slipped a little bit, but we're going to set it right down about. Hello and welcome back to the Man Cave. It's about 24 hours later in our saga of installing a permanent GoPro mount on our Sedici Strada Parlare, or Parlare Strada, I'm not sure, street talk helmet. The epoxy has now dried, and dried quite nicely. Don't know how well this will come up on film here, but using a clear plastic thing here, you can see that that's set in there rather nicely. And in fact, it has filled in the gaps. You want something that has some viscosity so that it does fill in the gaps, because there will be some gap matching the curves of the mount to the helmet. The only thing I notice, and I don't know if this will be entirely visible on video, but the only thing I notice is there's a little gap here. So I'm going to fill that in. I don't have to, because it's a real solid mount. It's not going to go anywhere, but just for my own, let's call it peace of mind, I don't want that thing to ever fall off. So I'm going to fill that in, and I'll show you what I'm going to use to do that. I'm not going to mix up another batch of the Permatex here. I just don't know how I could splice it in there. I don't have an ice cream stick. If I had an ice cream stick, I could do it in rather nicely. But stand by. We're going to put that last little part in there. This is a material called Bondic, and you can get it online. They have their own commerce site online. And what it is a light activated adhesive. And again, it's got some viscosity. It's a little thick as it goes in, and I'm just going to use it to fill in that little bit of part there where the gap is missing. And what you do is you pull off the rear pin, apply it, and then use the light to harden it, and it will harden it quite nicely. So we're going to do that. I'm going to shut up and get to that job. And after about a minute with the ultraviolet light, that gap has been nicely sealed, and we have a further connection, further adhesion with that Bondic product. So it's on there. It's not going anyplace. Now let's rig up the camera mount. Okay, we progressed to the last little bit here, and that is to install the camera onto the helmet. I've selected this curved piece out of my collection of connectors, and I'm going to use these low profile star screws or bolts here. I don't know if they're big enough to be called a bolt, but star screws. They're M5s. And I keep these for they're very inexpensive. They're Taiwan. Very inexpensive for some of my little motorcycle projects. And you'll note that I've got a little nylon washer under there. I hope that comes out so you can see it. And that's wise practice, so you don't go in too far and distort things up. And after all, you want some adjustability as you go along. Again, an Amazon purchase. I just got a variety of these nylon washers to use for my projects. All right, without further ado, let's put it on there. I've selected this curved piece, puts it around. I want the camera mount finally to be coaxial with my eyes. I think that's the best and most immersive experience for people watching any kind of a motorcycle video log or vlog. And with this GoPro mount, it's got a bit of a, I guess I can refer to this as a gimbal, so there'll be quite a bit of adjustability built into the setup when it's installed. And remember, when you install these bolts, that you want this to be facing down this way off the helmet. If they ever work loose or something, you don't want to have them drop out the bottom. That's just a fine little detail there. So let's go ahead and run this guy in. And there you have it. Our camera will be mounted right here. Both bolts are facing down. I'm going to use another low profile star bolt to put that in there. And we have a camera ready Sedici Strada helmet. The question inevitably arises, and I think it's a fair one, as to how safe all this is. You put a big piece of levered equipment out in front of your helmet, and quite honestly, I don't think it is all that safe. I think this could cause some issues if you did unfortunately have a crash or an off. How much of an issue it might cause, I don't know. It's too bad there's not a breakaway that at a certain measurement amount of force would allow it to break away and not have any consequences. Don't know how to do that and ensure the survival of a $300 or $400 little mini camera. So I think it is an issue. I think that's one of the advantages of using GoPro's red adhesive mounts. I have a feeling that these might ultimately be safer and come right off, but then you're dealing with the issue of the camera. I suppose one could tether it, but those are the trade-offs, and I will be taking this out for a bit of a test drive here over the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. But we are essentially done with this little garage project.